So the NBA is freaking out over this developing drama between the LA Clippers and Kawhi Leonard. The allegations by Pablo Torre, the so-called NBA investigator, which is crazy that he did all this research. He posted a clip from his podcast, revealing an interview he did with a former employee of this tree brokerage company called Aspiration, and we're going to get all into it here on NZ for 3. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. We talk Sixers nonstop, but let's get right down to business. And you're probably wondering already, what does this have to do with the Sixers? Well, I'll explain that later, but let's first kind of just let's get a brief overview of what is going on with Kawhi and the Clippers. So basically, Pablo Torre, NBA Batman, revealing all this suspicious activity, but inside the NBA. What he did was that he pretty much he followed the money regarding the bankruptcy of this tree planting company called, I actually forgot what it was called, but Grok coming in to save the day, because I used Grok, to be honest, to actually explain the issue. I did watch the Pablo Torre video, but I didn't want to, react to it. If you want to check it out, I definitely recommend that you do. So basically, it was this company called Aspiration Incorporated, a Los Angeles, is already suspicious, based company marketed as a tree brokerage focused on sustainability and carbon emission efforts. It was backed by high-profile celebrities like Robert Downey Jr., Iron Man, Drake, and former Clippers and 76ers head coach Glenn Doc Rivers, who publicly endorsed the company. Clippers owner Steve Ballmer invested $50 million in Aspiration, and the company was a founding partner for the Clippers' new arena, Intuit Dome. So basically, the Clippers ownership has a ton of influence and roots inside this company, and what is basically being argued here is that through its bankruptcy, the Clippers were somehow giving Kawhi Leonard $28 million that, was paid out annually, despite him not doing anything to actually endorse the company itself. So like Robert Downey and Drake, they did stuff promoting the company, but Kawhi Leonard, at least according to Pablo Torre and what he found, he didn't do anything to promote that company. So Torre's investigation found no evidence that Leonard ever publicly endorsed or mentioned Aspiration, unlike other celebrities who promoted the company through ads or social media. A former Aspiration's finance department employee, speaking anonymously, claimed Leonard's deal was the company's largest sponsorship, dwarfing all others combined, and was explicitly designed to circumvent the NBA salary cap, which is a big no-no in the NBA. We know, the Sixers, they get caught all the time doing tampering and stuff and get second-round draft picks taken away. And what has been known throughout NBA history, at least, this was like 25 years ago, where the Minnesota Timberwolves, they tried to sign this guy, Joe Smith, with an under-the-table deal, and the NBA found out, and they really gave the Timberwolves the hammer. They took away 5 first-round picks. One of them they actually gave back to the Timberwolves, but still a whole crap ton of picks just snatched away from them. David Stern was running the NBA back then, and he wasn't having it. And the Timberwolves, they really got shook from that, and possibly the same thing could happen to the LA Clippers, at least with them getting their draft picks taken away, or maybe like voiding Kawhi Leonard's contract. We'll see, since the NBA leadership is clearly a lot different. And a contract clause allowed Leonard to decline any actions requested by Aspiration if they conflicted with his beliefs, effectively enabling him to collect the money without fulfilling typical endorsement obligations. And so basically this former employee said that basically they only did this to Kawhi. They gave this to Kawhi was so that the Clippers can give him under the table money, so they, could use some more room in the salary cap, I suppose, to improve the roster. And this kind of becomes a bit more suspicious when you link the fact that these other teams were giving him a lot more money in the 2019 free agency. Yet, you could say, he went there because he wanted to go back to LA. But I mean, the Lakers, they're, the LA's A team. Like, if any player really chooses between the Lakers or the Clippers, they're probably going to go to the Clippers. I mean, no, not the Clippers, the Lakers. The Clippers have always been the Lakers, little brother. And so then it goes into the connection between Steve Ballmer. The allegations suggest that Ballmer's $50 million investment facilitated the deal, with the company acting as a conduit to pay Leonard additional money outside his NBA contract, thereby sweetening the Clippers' offer without violating salary cap rules on paper. This arrangement allegedly incentivized Leonard to re-sign with the Clippers in 21, a 4-year, $176 million deal, and later in 2024, a 3-year, $153 million extension. So, I mean, they were doing this while supposedly, allegedly, because nothing's really set in stone yet. I mean, it could be the anonymous. Who knows really, like, what the anonymous source, if it's 100% credible, and maybe the NBA, if they decide to launch its own investigation with all the resources they have, maybe this could come to nothing, or maybe we could kind of get another situation that happened with the Timberwolves where the NBA really cracks down on this stuff and really punishes the Clippers. And the Clippers, they apparently denied the allegations, saying neither Mr. Ballmer nor the Clippers circumvented the salary cap or engaged in any misconduct related to aspiration. Kawhi's team didn't say anything yet, and basically just goes into the rest of the salary cap and all of that. And the NBA did not launch an investigation, but hope maybe they will soon. I mean, this is really really getting around the internet, and the NBA probably has to address it somehow. And it is really interesting with Kawhi Leonard and his activity in trying to get these endorsements, when you also consider the fact that, rewind a bit to 2019 when the Raptors, coming off an NBA championship, they tried to sign him, and Kawhi Leonard actually demanded that the Raptors owner give him an extra $15 million in endorsements when deciding free agency. So Kawhi Leonard in his camp, they are already trying to get as much money as possible outside of the NBA salary cap's limits. And I mean, yeah, of course, NBA players are going to try and get as, big of a payday as possible. It makes sense, especially if, you're Kawhi Leonard, you're in the middle of your prime, and you just won a championship, had a crazy playoff run, got the Raptors their first championship. And it's regardless, though, it is really suspicious in a way, given that, it kind of does make sense when you think about it, given that Kawhi barely even plays in the first place, and the Clippers kind of not really giving him as crazy of the amount of money some of these deals are with other players and how big their contracts are. Like Kawhi's are pretty tame compared to a lot of these other contracts, like what Jaylen Brown is making at least now, and it does make sense that, hey, if Kawhi, is injury prone and stuff, why not try and get as much money as possible? This is from the perspective of his camp outside of the salary cap. And so, yeah, it is a really weird situation. And we're just going to go in and talk about what the Sixers have to do with this. Well, the thing about the Philadelphia 76ers is that they own the Clippers' 2028 unprotected first-round pick and their 2029 pick swap. And that is huge, given that we're going into the 2026 season, and depending what the Clippers, what their punishment is by the NBA, whether it's as crazy as getting more picks taken away or Kawhi Leonard's contract being voided. I mean, realistically, this is still a developing story, and the NBA, I don't think it's going to be really anything groundbreaking on what the NBA is going to do to the Clippers. Maybe suspend Kawhi 15 games or so, but he's already going to be missing 40 games a season anyway. So is it really going to impact the Clippers? We have yet to see. But the Sixers, they benefit a lot from this. We're entering the 2026 season, and that 2028 pick, that 2029 pick swap, those are becoming more valuable, given that the Clippers, they're the Sixers of the West. They got a couple, has-been, semi-washed stars in James Harden and Kawhi Leonard. I mean, they're still productive for sure, but is it the versions of themselves that are needed for the Clippers to compete in a stacked Western Conference? I say the same thing about the Sixers. Sixers fans are saying, Paul George and Joel Embiid, we need to get, if they can get on the court, they can, play consistently, at least 80% of what they were. It's not going to happen. The version of Paul George and Joel Embiid that we need, they don't exist anymore. I'm sorry. It's just, I'm being real. It's kind of the same thing with the Clippers. Like the Kawhi Leonard, that was in Toronto and San Antonio. He ain't there anymore. James Harden, he's not the guy he was in Houston. And I've always said about James Harden, man, I mean, yeah, it's definitely, admirable that he has been able to consistently produce and be just a fantastic facilitator, man. I mean, he's probably the best passer of a basketball I've ever seen. It was really fun to watch him, man, operate the Sixers offense when he was here. Yeah, James Harden, he's going to win you the sprint but lose you the marathon. The Clippers will eventually lose steam, and they got a bunch of old dudes on their team, man. They're just like the Sixers. They got Kawhi, Bradley Beal. He's kind of washed. Chris Paul, I mean, it's crazy how long Chris Paul's been able to play with his vegetarian diet. But he's washed. And James Harden, kind of washed. Kawhi, kind of washed. And then what? I mean, John Collins, that's a good pickup. And Derek Jones Jr. still on the team. And, the Clippers, they're just kind of redundant. I mean, a backcourt with James Harden and Bradley Beal defensively is definitely going to be an issue, in the fact that Kawhi Leonard is not, the DPOY level he was, in San Antonio. He's not going to be helping. Oh, I mean, they got Zubac too. I mean, the Clippers, they're going to be a good team. It's just not going to be sustainable, man, and given how old they all are. And they're the Sixers of the Western Conference, and the Sixers own their picks. And the Clippers, if they just fail and they decide to reset, even though they can't really do that because they don't have many of their picks, they're going to be trash in the next upcoming years, and the Sixers are going to capitalize on that by, at least hope, maybe trading that pick if the rest of the league thinks is valuable for a really good young player, or getting a nice young prospect in the 2028 draft, given that the Clippers are going to suck, and if the lottery balls fall their way, that pick gets converted to the 76ers, and they get a decent pick. And, man, we'll see what happens with the rest of this Kawhi Leonard situation. Hit that like and subscribe button if you're new around here. We're going to try and keep uploading consistently here on NZ for 3. I appreciate the support. We're on the road to 1K subs, but that's all I got. I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.